Welcome to Fade in the Books. Whether it's between the lines or beyond the three, we got the picks you need to bring in the green. So sit back, relax while we put in the work because this team right here is so damn thorough. Welcome to Fade in the Books. Me and my nephew here we're giving you 6 picks for the rest of the slate games. If you haven't checked it out, we put a video up for the first game over in London between the Rams and the Jags. So make sure you go check that out. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. With that being said, Brandon, you want to talk about maybe what you like as far as these afternoon games, and maybe where you're
Yeah,
going with your first pick.
yeah. I'll just give you a couple games to kind of keep monitoring and watching a little bit. I think storyline in Jets versus the Cardinals. I'm sorry, the Carolina Panthers. That should be a good game there because you got to see if the Carolina Panthers are a serious team and are the Jets just a laughing stock of the NFL. Because last week the Jets terrible, but the last couple of weeks the Carolina Panthers actually been doing pretty well. Another good matchup, interdivision matchup. We're gonna be Kansas City and the Raiders. That'll be a good interdivision matchup. And the New York Giants and the Denver Broncos. I really like that matchup itself because you got the hot and ready Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, and versus the Denver defense and Bo Nix. And that brings me to my first pick there, which is Jackson Dart, 30 yards rushing. I really like that one because Jackson Dart it has hit this over the last 3 games, I think. And the way that he's been running, you might want to get him before he gets hurt. Honestly,
Yeah.
take the line before he gets hurt. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if he. They're probably gonna kind of calm him down a little bit, but he's really finding those lanes and trying to make a play. And it's really encouraging for the team itself because they kind of need that over there in New York. And they need somebody that's going to do whatever it takes to actually make a play there. And they're going to be playing a heavy man defense. With the heavy man defense, you got a lot of DBs with your backs against the wall, against the quarterback. So once you break that containment, he should have a few yards to actually run there. So that's why I like if he can get out of that pocket, 30 yards for Jackson Dart rushing.
All right. You got you got just one for that one, or
That's all I got for for that one.
okay for that one. All right. Well, my first pick, I'm going with Kayshawn Boutier
Booty.
Boutier for the Patriots. I'm taking him at 30 yards receiving. This Patriot squad, they haven't been able to really get the run game going. So Drake May has been dropping back and passing a lot more. Diggs just, he just exploded against the Bills. He has been on an injury report. I think he may be still questionable for this game. And I took Boudier on another pick, and he just absolutely destroyed his line, like went over it by miles. So this 30 yards against this Tennessee defense, um, I think that's easy cash. I'm gonna call it before halftime. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it before halftime. That he's gonna cash his 30 yards receiving.
This will be an
Which,
interesting game as well, honestly, because they just fired the head coach over there in Tennessee. So you don't know exactly what the Tennessee team is actually going to look like, and they have the injury report is crazy over there with Kevin Ridley out and offensive lineman out, defensive lineman out. They have an injury report like crazy over there. So you don't know what the Tennessee defense is going to look like, or the team going to look like in general. So the opportunity
mhm.
for him to get those lines is actually going to be really good. I kind of like that one on there, especially with Stephon Diggs dealing with that chest injury there. That moves him up to being the second targeted receiver over there behind the tight end Henry. Hunter Henry, I believe they got over there.
Yeah,
So I
Hunter
really like
Henry.
that
Yeah,
one.
tight end. Hmm.
Yep, and then with Miles Stevenson, you can't trust him in running the ball. So they got Travion Henderson
Yeah.
there, and them. So that's a pretty solid pick. I didn't see a pretty solid pick.
All
The next
right.
game I would go to honestly would be it's another afternoon game. I'm sorry, 4 o'clock game. Going to the Indianapolis Colts versus the Chargers, LA Chargers. They are going West Coast there. And we talk about injury report. The Chargers injury report is longer than the CVS receipt. And I'm gonna tell you that right now. Uh, so we're gonna stick with theirs for a couple picks here actually. I think
hmm
Daniel Jones there for 200 yards passing should be a gimme there. I would have took him a little bit higher, but he has Josh Downs is actually gonna be out on this one, so I think they're gonna be keying in, and Ashton Dulin is actually gonna be out on this one. So they're gonna be keying in a lot on Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman there, but they should still be able to actually throw the ball. I think the Chargers pass defense is actually really good. They don't give up a lot of big plays, but they're very susceptible to the underneath passes. Um, with Khalil Mack coming back, I think he might contain a little bit more. So those underneath quick passes should be there a lot for him for 200 yards there.
hmm
And then the next one I got, you
Well,
can kind of comment on both of those here real quick
all right.
once I get them out there. The next one I got is Justin Herbert, 15 yards rushing. Now, he has a good trio of receivers to actually throw it to. Um, with Lad McConkey, Allen, and Johnston coming back this week. But that offensive line, when I tell you that I think they was holding call outs for offensive linemen out there, they were holding call outs for offensive linemen out there this week. If Joe Alt comes back, he may be a little bit better there, but he's still gonna be dealing with that ankle injury. So he's going to be on the move a lot. And the Indianapolis Colts they gave up a lot of rushing yards, and not a lot, but they give up a fair amount of rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks. And with Justin Herbert averaging about 25 yards rushing, I like his line at 15 yards. So those two picks there again are going to be Justin Herbert 15 yards rushing and Daniel Jones 200 yards passing.
Yep. I'm gonna start with the Daniel Jones. The Chargers. They're top five in passing yards. As far as the defense, Daniel Jones has went over 200 yards every single game this season, but not too
Hmm.
many quarterbacks has. I say maybe 50% of them went over the 200 yards against this Chargers team. But the Colts are different. Their play calling, their play style. Um, I think they're really, Jonathan Taylor is a beast running the ball. So I think, when I look at a lot of teams where the quarterback wasn't successful as far as throwing 200 yards, they didn't have a running back like Jonathan Taylor back there. So I think Shane is going to probably he's a pretty creative play caller, and like I said, Daniel Jones has become the ultimate game manager. All that, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I like this spot uh, for 200 yards. Any more than that, I don't know. I'd be kind of shaky, but 200, that's definitely a safe play. Um, the other play with Justin Herbert, hell, somebody got to run the ball. I'm
And
just gonna
honestly, I
come
don't
out and
even
say
let
it.
me see who their running back is. I don't even know who their
I
running
mean,
back
they
is actually this week.
actually, the running back that they had, he did have a monster game last game. I think it's some. It ends in a V. His name. He actually had a pretty good game.
Oh,
But
did he?
yeah, I think this is gonna be a little different. I mean,
Oh,
they
Vital.
still may,
Yeah,
yeah, he
Lonnie
still may be
Vital.
able to run the ball. But again, I think they're gonna apply some pressure. The Colts are. And Justin Herbert again is one of those. I always say, you know, certain quarterbacks are going to try and run and get yards besides lose yards. Or they're not going to get in a fetal position like Peyton Manning used to, or something like. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
these quarterbacks now they're going to scramble and get some yards. So 15 yards for Justin Herbert. Yeah, I like that play also.
And with the game, with the flow of the actual game itself, you can see that it's going to go back and forth. And a lot of those times when it's going back and forth, you're going to take these quarterbacks. They're going to take more risk, right? They're going to hold the ball a
hmm
little bit longer. They're going to get out of the pocket and things like that. Um, they that was against Miami last week when he ran.
Yeah,
Miami
yeah. See
Dolphins.
what?
So okay,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
That makes sense exactly.
Okay, yeah. So he's gonna do what he got to do, and I like Justin Herbert as a quarterback. He's a winner to me. He's gonna do what it takes to actually try to get those yards as well. So 15 yards should be attainable there. Who you
Yeah.
got for your other picks there?
My other two picks, I got Alvin Kamara. I took him for 40 yards rushing against, yes, my Bears.
Ooh,
Um, yeah. You know, we're like bottom three in run defense. Alvin Kamara, he's a beast. You know, he's been a beast for years, just been in a bad spot in New Orleans or whatnot. The weather's I think the weather's gonna be a little tricky out there. It's supposed to be pretty bad weather across the Midwest this weekend. You know, a lot of rain, stuff like that. And I think 40 yards against a Bears defense, run defense, you know, man, I would take him more than that, but you don't know how this NFL season. I mean, like it's been tricky so far this NFL season with run games. You know, we just saw
yeah.
that Thursday night with Chase Brown. Um, but 40 yards for Alvin Kamara, I really think this is a safe play for him in Chicago.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe play as well. He is getting. I was trying to see. He's actually getting 3.8 yards a game. There, and he's averaging almost over a little over 50 yards a game. So 40, taking him under the average is actually a really safe play there. I'm not. I think that the Bears actually you're gonna have to score with the Bears at the end of the day with them, and they got to control the game some way, form, or fashion. The Saints actually been surprising me a little bit by staying with some of these teams like New England and they beat the Giants with Jackson Dart in there. So they surprising me a little bit. They try to see what uh, Spencer Ratliff actually has before they actually enter the draft. 'Cause they're still a bottom team at the end of the day. They still
Hmm.
gonna try to do everything they can do. To actually win the game. And one thing that is consistent is Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara has been a consistent factor with them for a while now, and I really like his rushing style.
Yep. All right. With that being said, we're gonna move to my last pick, which is Keyshawn Junkins. I took
John
him at
Johnson.
80. I took him at 80 yards rushing. They're playing against a Miami team who my nephew just spoke on, gave up ton of yardage to some unknown running back from the Chargers last week, and now they got
Hmm.
somebody who's known. So I took him at 80 yards against the 32nd ranked defense. Um, Again, it's supposed to be tricky conditions out there, and I believe it's easier to play in messed up conditions when you know where you're running, as
Hmm.
opposed to trying to figure out where somebody is going. And
Absolutely.
Junkins, we saw him. I think it maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. He had a big run of 50 some yards, and it got called back for holding. So if the Browns can, limit, those penalties, this man might just go over 100. But I took him at 80. You know, a nice safe play. He's covered that line, a couple games this season. So what do you think about Mr. Junkins, who should have been a Bear?
Yeah, yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, he's definitely a the pie favorite on here. Quinshon Junkins, he's definitely a pie favorite. I'm really high on him this year. Now with and you had it right, honestly, with the Dolphins being 37th ranked defense because they are terrible. They're 37th. Because
37th.
yeah, I can think of a couple high school teams that got better defense than them. But with that being said, I really like this play because of the two key factors. Honestly, I really like the fact that if it is terrible conditions, running the ball is always a good thing. With Dylan Gabriel, we don't know if he's even a good quarterback, so I think that running the ball, keeping them, making it easier for him, is actually going to be it's going to be good there. And then with David Njoku out this game, I just think it's going to be more of a emphasis to actually run the ball because he was the safety blanket for Dylan Gabriel, but now with him being out, they're going to have to lean on that run game to kind of control the game because if the Miami Dolphins can do anything, they can score points or they can move the ball. I don't know if they can score points, they can move the ball with Waddle and Tua and the running back over there, A Chain. So I think that they're gonna have to try to control the game a little bit with Quinshon Junkins. Again, I'm a really big fan of his. He's averaging 4.6 yards a carry. You can kind of, I would probably lean and say that he may be getting closer to like 16 carries this game. I would lean closer to like 16 carries. I know he's averaging about 12 to 13, but I'm leaning towards 16 carries this game. There. And yeah, that was a big hold call against the Pittsburgh Steelers
Yeah.
last week that brought his average all the way down. Other than that, he's been actually doing very well on there.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, with that being said, Brandon, you let me know if you can read this. Have you read off our plays as I put them on the screen? Can you see
Oh
that there?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got Justin Herbert 15 yards. We got Daniel Jones 200 yards passing. Jackson Dart 30 yards rushing. Keyshawn Butte 30 yards receiving. Quinyon Johnson Junkins, 80 yards rushing, and Alvin Kamara, 40 yards rushing as well. So I like that.
Yep. Yeah, that's a pretty solid ticket there. Shoo. As you know, in the sports world, in the betting world, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? But I think we got two good parlays out there for the people. Again, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Um, Brandon, you got any last words
And
for the
that's it.
people?
That's it. That's it. Just keep in mind for Monday will be a live. We go live on Monday, so make sure y'all
Community.
y'all keep your picks, bring them in, tell a friend, sign in,
Yeah.
chat with us.
Yeah, chat with us. It'll be at 6 o'clock on Monday because the first we got two Monday night games.
Oh yeah,
First
yeah.
one
That's
starts
right.
at 7, so we'll be live streaming at 6. Hopefully, we can get some community picks in there. End at about 6:30 or so people can hit those buttons. Get those picks in and have a winning Monday. Hey, ain't nothing like starting the week off with a win. But it's even
Absolutely.
better when you start the week. You started with the weekend Sunday. You know what I'm saying? When you off work.
Yes,
you
sir.
know.
Yes, sir.
All
I love
right.
it.
Well,
But that's all we got.
all right. We'll see y'all Monday. Peace.